Welcome all. In my last hour of teaching, we learned about different types of RNA. And before that, we learned the properties of genetic material. The certain properties should have a genetic material. A genetic material should have certain properties. Looking out the relationship between DNA and RNA, the Francis Crick proposed the central dogma of molecular biology that occur where the DNA is a genetic material. What is the central dogma? Central dogma of molecular biology. Central dogma of molecular biology proposed by the Francis Crick. He said there is a relationship between DNA and RNA where the DNA is a genetic material. DNA is a genetic material. DNA always present in the nucleus of the cell. DNA is always present in the nucleus of the cell and it is self-replicative or duplication. It is the genetic material having the property of self-duplication or self-replication. It is DNA-dependent DNA synthesis. This is called the DNA-dependent DNA synthesis. It is present in the nucleus. It gets replicate itself. The process is called as DNA duplication or DNA replication. It is called the DNA-dependent DNA synthesis. And the DNA as a template for the synthesis of RNA. DNA acts as a template for the synthesis of RNA. So, the RNA is synthesized on DNA or DNA used as a template. Use the DNA as a template. The process of the synthesis of RNA from the DNA is called transcription. So, DNA dependent RNA synthesis is called DNA dependent RNA synthesis. And what is transcription? The codon language of a DNA is transferred to the codon language of RNA. Get transferred, the process is called as transcription. Thus, RNA is synthesized on DNA, one of the state of the DNA, using it as a template. So, this RNA comes out from the nucleus and this carries the information of the DNA to the ribosome for the protein synthesis. This RNA carries the information of the DNA towards the ribosome for the synthesis of protein. The process of the synthesis of proteins in cytoplasm or ribosome is called as translation. What is translation? The codon language of RNA is translated into the amino acid language of protein. The codon language of RNA is translated into amino acid language of protein. It is called, the process is called as translation. This is the central dogma of molecular biology proposed by Francis Crick. What is that? DNA is a genetic material. It is present in the nucleus. So DNA is self-replicative one. It duplicates itself. It is a property of a genetic material. So it is called DNA-dependent DNA synthesis. So the RNA is synthesized on DNA. So it carries the information of DNA to the cytoplasm for the protein synthesis. The process is called as transcription. So RNA moved to the mRNA or messenger RNA, it carries the message to the ribosome. So the ribosomes involved in the protein synthesis. So the translation is nothing but codon language of RNA is translated into amino acid language of protein or protein synthesis. In the process of protein synthesis, it is called the translation. This is central dogma of molecular biology. When the Howard Temin and David Baltimore discovered the retroviruses, the retroviruses showed different mechanism. They are not obeying the principle of central dogma. They are not obeying the principle of central dogma. These viruses, the retroviruses, having RNA as a genetic material, did not having any or did not having any of the DNA content. But the retroviruses like HIV or some retroviruses, they are having the genetic material. They undergo a different process where they transcribe into DNA. They synthesize cDNA, complementary DNA, where the RNA act as a template for the synthesis of DNA. The RNA act as a template for the synthesis of DNA or complementary DNA. This process is called as reverse transcription. Because in such viruses, such the HIV-like viruses, they are having the one enzyme, a specialized enzyme called as reverse transcriptase. This reverse transcriptase enzyme, what it does, it reversely transcribed, means the RNA is act as a template for the synthesis of complementary DNA. So it is called RNA dependent DNA synthesis. It is the reverse to the central dogma of molecular biology. Thus it is called as reverse transcription. This is reverse to the central dogma of molecular biology. Thus it is called reverse transcription. And now we are going to learn about the duplication of DNA. Semi-conservative duplication before moving towards the actual mechanism of duplication that occur in the DNA, we have to learn the semi-conservative mode of duplication proved by the Michelson and Stout. Soon after, the Watson and Crick proposed this double helical structure. Soon after, the Watson and Crick proposed double helical structure. They recognized that the base pairing specificity which is present between the two complementary strands of DNA is helpful for the simple mechanism of DNA duplication. They recognize, both Watson and Crick recognize that there is a base pairing specificity present between the two complementary strands of the DNA, helpful for they involved in the simple mechanism of DNA duplication. They said that during the DNA duplication, see, this is the double helical structure of the DNA. Both Watson and Crick said that during the DNA duplication, the hydrogen bonds which are present between the nucleotides of the two complementary strands. They say that the hydrogen bonds between the two strands of the DNA, two complementary strands of the DNA, broken out, so that one parent strand or the old strand direct the synthesis of new complementary strand. The old strand direct the synthesis of new complementary strand. Thus, it is called semi-conservative replication. called semi-conservative replication, because one of the newly progeny of DNA having one old strand and one new strand. So new strand is synthesized using the complementary base pairs present in the old strand of the DNA. So if the nucleotide on the old strand is A, so that the new strand is synthesized by using its complementary T. So like that, the new strand of DNA is synthesized by using the old strand as a template. Old strand of the DNA as a template. So this semi-conservative mode of replication is proved by the Michelson and Stahl. Michelson and Stahl in the year 1950. So the Watson and Crick proposed the semi-conservative. Hypothetically, they proposed the semi-conservative mode of replication. They said that the hydrogen bonds between two complementary base pairs are broken down during the DNA duplication, and each strand of the DNA act as a template for the synthesis of new complementary strand. So they propose, it is proved by the Michelson and Stahl in 1958 using a simple bacteria called E. coli, a prokaryotic bacteria called as E. coli. They observed in E. coli the semi-conservative mode of replication of. First, why they use the E. coli? Because it is handled, it can be easily handled or can grow easily in the media in the laboratory. E. coli, the growth period of E. coli is 20 minutes. The growth period of E. coli is 20 minutes. Means the latency period is the 20 minutes. Means one E. coli get doubled in 20 minutes of time. One E. coli get doubled into, it become 2 when 20 minutes of time. So it is called growth period of E. coli. Is that 20 minutes is the growth period of E. coli. And they use cesium. They use two isotopes of nitrogen. The heavy isotope of nitrogen is N15 and light isotope of nitrogen is N14. They use two isotopes, one heavy isotope nitrogen and second one is light isotope of nitrogen in the synthesis of media, growing media. Why they use this isotope? Because DNA having nitrogen bases like purines and pyrimidines. So the purines and pyrimidines inculcate these nitrogen isotopes so that the bacteria containing the DNA having these isotopes. And they use the cesium chloride. They use the cesium chloride density gradient centrifugation. They use cesium chloride density gradient centrifugation for their experiment. What is cesium chloride density gradient centrifugation? So cesium chloride is a salt. This centrifugation process separates DNA or the molecules or any biomolecules on the basis of their density. It is called density gradient centrifugation. Cesium chloride is a salt which is able to separate the DNA or any organic molecule on the basis of their density. See, normal density of DNA is 1.7 gram per cubic centimeter. The density of normal DNA is 1.7 gram per cubic centimeter. when the DNA which is the E. coli which is grow in the media that containing light isotope, the light nitrogen isotope having the density of 1.710 gram per cubic centimeter. So when E. coli grow in the light nitrogen isotope, this DNA having the density of 1.710 gram per cubic centimeter. When the DNA which containing the heavy nitrogen isotope having the density of 1.726 gram per cubic centimeter. See, this is on the basis of their density, lightest density, the gradient is formed, so that DNA gets separated in the density gradient centrifugation. So the DNA with light nitrogen isotope having the density of 1.710 and the DNA having the heavy isotope of nitrogen having the density of 1.724 gram per cubic centimeter. So what is the experiment? What is the experiment? They took E. coli and grew media that contain the heavy nitrogen isotope for several generations. What is the experiment? The mesozoic star took the E. coli bacteria, they grew in the media that containing nitrogen heavy isotope for several generations. Thus, their DNA is having the heavy isotope nitrogen. They showed the band of DNA in cesium chloride density gradient at 1.724 gram per cubic centimeter. So they took the E. coli and grew in the media that containing the heavy isotope of nitrogen. Thus, the DNA of E. coli having this heavy nitrogen isotope, when they did the centrifugation, it shows a single band at 1.724 gram per centimeter. Single band. Then they transferred the bacteria from this plate. They transferred the bacteria from the media that containing the heavy nitrogen isotope to the media that containing light nitrogen isotope. Already I mentioned that the latency period or the growth period of E. coli is 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, they did one more centrifugation. Here in this centrifugation, it showed a single band in between, not one. It shows a single band which is between the density 1.70 and 1.21. In second generation, means after 20 minutes, when they did the centrifugation, it shows two bands, one at the middle and other one with the density 1.710 gram per cubic centimeter. So this is nothing but having the isotope of N15. This band, this shows two band actually. This shows having the isotope of N14 and N15. band shows they having the isotope of N14 and N15, and this band shows they having the DNA with the isotope N14. After several generations, the thickening of this band occurs, showing that the DNA containing only N14 radioisotope, because it is growing on media that containing N14. So this indicates the DNA is a semi-conservative. This indicates the DNA is a semi-conservative. See, this is the strand of the DNA. This is the strand of the DNA. So when it is growing on N14 radioisotope, both the strand containing N15 radioisotope. For several generations, when this bacteria is transferred to the N14 radioisotope containing media, so this strand acts as a template for the synthesis of new strand. This also acts as a template for the synthesis of new strand. So the old strand having N15 radioisotope and the new strand having N14 radioisotope. The old strand having N15 radioisotope and the new strand having N14 isotope. So these two showed intermediate band when in the second generation, when they did cesium chloride density gradient centrifugation. It shows the band between these two here. This band between these two. So in second generation, this strand acts as a template for the synthesis of new strand, and this strand also acts as a template for the synthesis of new strand. And this strand acts as a template for the synthesis of new strand, and this strand acts as a template for the synthesis of new strand. So this band, see, this is what it containing N15, and this strand is containing N15. Otherwise, all strand containing N14 radioisotope. Thus, this N14 having the density of 1.710 is a light isotope, so that different band is started occurring in the density gradient centrifugation, and for next generation this band is start thickening. It indicates the DNA of the E. coli containing N14 radioisotopes, and this band is start leaning. This indicates the DNA having the radioisotope of N14 and N15. By this experiment, they proved the semi-conservative mode of replication. A lot of people accepted. In the year 1958, the scientist called Taylor. In the year 1958, the scientist called Taylor he did similar experiment on a plant called Vicia faba. In the year 1958, the scientist called as Taylor did this kind of experiment, similar experiment on the plant called as Vicia faba or faba beans, using a radioisotope thymine. Labeled thymine. The idea behind this is thymine is present only in DNA, not in RNA. So using the thymine isotope, the Taylor also proved DNA duplicate in semi-conservatively. So this experiment carries 5 marks in your examination. In next class, we are going to learn about the enzymes required for the DNA replication and the mechanism of DNA replication. And thank you very much for the patience listening. Thank you.